When he regained consciousness, he found himself in a dimly lit hospital room, the steady beep of a heart monitor providing a haunting backdrop. Panic set in as he attempted to move, but a sharp pain shot through his hand and he froze. "Jack!" A familiar voice broke through the haze. It was his sister standing at the foot of the bed, tears glistening in her eyes. "Thank God you're awake. You scared us." "What happened?" he croaked, throat dry. "Where are my fingers?" They couldn't reattach them," she whispered, her voice trembling. "They said you were lucky to survive. You lost a lot of blood." Jack stared at her in disbelief, horror settling in as the memories of that night flooded back. The stranger, the shadow, the blood. The guy in the bathroom. Who was he? His sister hesitated, looking away. They couldn't find him. It's like he vanished. There were no security cameras in that part of the club. It's as if he never existed. A chill ran down Jack's spine. How could someone just disappear? He recalled the man's hollow eyes, the chilling smile that seemed to promise something sinister. "The doctors say you were in shock. That might explain why you can't remember everything," she said. But the uncertainty in her voice made Jack's skin crawl. Days passed, and Jack's recovery was slow. He couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the remnants of fear lingering like a dark cloud. He couldn't go back to the club. The thought of it made his stomach churn. One night, still haunted by the events, he decided to visit the club, driven by a mix of curiosity and dread. He needed answers, closure, anything to piece together the shattered remnants of that night. When he arrived, the neon lights buzzed ominously, casting eerie shadows that danced like specters on the walls. The bouncer at the door eyed him with suspicion but let him pass. Inside, the atmosphere was electric, the bass vibrating through his bones, yet he felt strangely detached from it all. Jack pushed through the crowd, his heart racing as he made his way to the bathroom. The memory of blood and pain echoed in his mind. He reached the door, hesitating before stepping inside. It was empty, a stark contrast to the chaos outside. The lights flickered overhead, casting shadows that seemed to twist and contort. Jack stepped further in, scanning the stalls, but there was no sign of the man who had changed his life forever. As he turned to leave, a movement caught his eye in the mirror. He froze, the reflection staring back at him. Behind him stood a figure, cloaked in darkness, its face obscured, but Jack recognized the glint of hollow eyes. "Come play with us." A whisper echoed in the silence, the familiar voice sending shivers down his spine. Jack spun around, heart pounding, but the bathroom was empty. The figure had vanished, leaving only the flickering lights and the pounding bass of the club to mock him. He bolted from the bathroom, pushing past the revelers, his breath coming in ragged gasps. Outside, he collapsed against the cold brick wall, the night air chilling him to the bone. What was happening to him? Was he losing his mind? Days turned into weeks, and Jack found himself plagued by nightmares. Visions of the figure, the blood, the laughter echoing in the shadows. He couldn't escape it. The darkness was closing in, consuming him whole. Then came the night when he woke again, jolted from a deep sleep, drenched in sweat. The whispering filled his ears. "Come play with us." With a newfound determination, he decided to confront the shadows that haunted him. He reached out to the local spiritual healer, seeking answers for the terror that had taken residence in his life. During the session, she listened carefully as he recounted his experiences, her expression grave. "You have attracted something dark," she warned, her voice low. "You must confront it to free yourself from its grasp." That night, armed with candles and a heart full of courage, Jack prepared himself. He sat in a circle of light, chanting words of protection, demanding the shadow to show itself. "I will not be afraid," he shouted into the darkness. As if in response, the temperature dropped. The room fell silent, the air thickening with tension. "Come play with us." The voice echoed around him, wrapping him in a cold embrace, Jack's heart raced as the chilling voice resonated around him, filling the room with a palpable dread. Shadows flickered at the edges of his vision, swirling like smoke, taunting him. He steadied his breath, clenching his fists as he called out into the darkness. "I am not afraid of you. Show yourself." The shadows twisted and coiled, forming vague shapes that danced at the periphery of his vision. With each heartbeat, the whispers grew louder, almost mocking him. "Come play with us. Come join us." Suddenly, the candles flickered violently, extinguishing one by one until only a single flame remained, casting long, grotesque shadows that contorted against the walls. Jack's pulse quickened as he felt a cold breeze brush against his skin, a sensation that sent shivers coursing through his body. Then, just beyond the flickering light, he saw it, a figure emerging from the depths of the darkness. It was a silhouette, tall and menacing, with hollow eyes that seemed to draw him in, beckoning him closer. Jack's instincts screamed at him to run, but he forced himself to remain still, rooted by a mixture of terror and fascination. "Why are you here?" he demanded, trying to keep his voice steady despite the tremor that threatened to betray him. "Because you invited us," the shadow replied, its voice a chilling echo that seemed to come from all directions at once. "You let the darkness in when you embraced the blood and pain. Now it's time to play." "What do you want from me?" Jack asked, feeling his resolve waver. He could almost feel the shadow's icy breath on his skin, a reminder of the horror that had plagued him since that night at the club. "Your fear, your suffering, they are delicious," it hissed, its form shifting slightly, becoming more defined. "You have seen the darkness. Now you must join it." Jack remembered the faces of the patrons at the club, the hollow smiles hidden behind masks, the hunger in their eyes as they feasted on his fear. He thought of the man who had hurt him, and the darkness he had felt wash over him like a tide. "No!" he shouted, summoning every ounce of defiance he could muster. "I won't give in!" With that declaration, the shadows surged forward, the oppressive darkness threatening to consume him whole. But Jack had learned to confront his fears. He remembered the light he had summoned before and focused on it now, imagining it growing brighter, pushing back against the encroaching dark. "I am not afraid," he repeated, louder this time, channeling his willpower into the flickering candlelight. "I will not be your plaything." The shadows recoiled, the figure's face twisting in anger. "You think you can resist? You think you can defy the inevitable?" The light pulsed in response, brightening to a blinding intensity. Jack felt the heat against his skin, a surge of energy flowing through him as he drew strength from his defiance. "Your darkness cannot touch me," he shouted, feeling the power of his conviction driving the shadows back. In that moment, the figure screamed, a sound that was both human and inhuman, echoing in the corners of the room. The shadows writhed, twisting violently as the light expanded, illuminating every inch of the space and banishing the darkness. With a final cry, the shadow dissipated, exploding into a cascade of black smoke that swirled around him before vanishing completely. Jack fell to his knees, gasping for breath as the oppressive weight lifted from his chest. The candles flickered back to life, bathing the room in warm light. He had done it. He had faced the darkness and emerged victorious, at least for now. But as he sat there trembling, he knew that the shadows might return, and with them, the chilling memories of that night at the club. Days turned into weeks, and Jack felt a fragile peace settle over him. He resumed his life, avoiding the club that had once drawn him in with its allure of excitement. But the nightmares returned, creeping in when he least expected them, filling his nights with visions of shadowy figures and blood-soaked memories. He sought help, attending therapy sessions to unravel the tangled web of fear and trauma that plagued him. Each session brought him closer to understanding, but the darkness remained a lurking presence at the edges of his mind. Then, one fateful night, as he lay in bed, he heard a soft whisper, barely audible yet unmistakable. "Come play with us." The hairs on the back of his neck stood on end. He shot up, heart racing, scanning the dimly lit room for signs of the shadows that had haunted him. "Leave me alone!" he shouted, voice breaking with panic. But the whispers grew louder, echoing in his ears. "You can't escape us, Jack. You belong to us now." In that moment, the reality of his situation crashed down upon him. He had thought he was free, but the darkness had merely retreated, biding its time, waiting for the moment he let his guard down. Determined not to succumb to fear again, Jack closed his eyes and summoned the light he had created before. He envisioned it radiating from within him, pushing back against the shadows, declaring his autonomy over his own life. "I will not be afraid," he shouted into the darkness. For a moment, everything fell silent. The whispers ceased, replaced by an unsettling stillness that filled the room. Jack opened his eyes, feeling the weight of uncertainty pressing down on him. But as he lay back down, the fear lingered in his heart. He knew he would have to face the shadows again, perhaps in ways he couldn't yet imagine. Yet deep down, he also knew that he had the power to confront them. He took a deep breath and whispered to himself, "I am stronger than you." And as he drifted off to sleep, he clung to that belief, determined to keep the shadows at bay, one night at a time. In the following months, Jack continued his battle against the lingering darkness. He filled his days with positive distractions, hiking in the woods, spending time with friends, and exploring new hobbies. But the whispers returned, sometimes in the quiet of night, sometimes in the dead of day. One day, while at a local cafe, he overheard a group of people discussing a recent string of bizarre occurrences in the city: missing persons, strange sightings, and inexplicable phenomena. His heart raced as he listened to their accounts, recognizing the patterns of fear that mirrored his own experiences. Driven by curiosity and a sense of urgency, Jack approached the group and introduced himself. "I've been experiencing something strange myself," he said, feeling the words spill out. "I think there's something dark lurking in our city." As he shared his story, the group listened intently, exchanging glances of understanding and fear. They spoke of a place rumored to be a hub of supernatural activity, a site where shadows were said to manifest, feeding on fear and despair. "I want to go there," Jack said, surprising even himself. "I need to confront this darkness once and for all." The group agreed to join him, their shared resolve igniting a flicker of hope in Jack's chest. Together, they planned an expedition to the haunted site, ready to face whatever lurked within its depths. On the night of their journey, the air was thick with anticipation as they approached the foreboding location, a decrepit building at the edge of town, long abandoned and shrouded in mystery. The moon cast an eerie glow, illuminating the cracked windows and decaying walls, as if beckoning them inside. As they stepped into the darkness, Jack felt the familiar chill wrap around him, but this time he was not alone. His companions shared their own fears and experiences, creating a sense of solidarity against the looming shadows. They explored the building, each creak of the floorboards sending shivers down their spines. The atmosphere grew heavier, thick with the weight of countless whispered secrets and trapped souls. Jack led the way, his heart pounding in rhythm with the adrenaline surging through him. "Are you ready to face the shadows?" he asked, turning to his companions. They nodded, determination etched on their faces. As they reached the heart of the building, a chilling presence enveloped them. The air crackled with energy, and the shadows danced along the walls, swirling and flickering like flames. Jack took a deep breath, the resolve strengthening within him. "Show yourselves!" he called out, his voice echoing in the darkness. The shadows responded, coalescing into a form that was both familiar and foreign, a figure cloaked in darkness, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce through him. "Welcome back, Jack," it whispered, its voice dripping with malice. "Did you really think you could escape?" Fear coursed through Jack's veins, but he stood firm. "I am not afraid of you. I will not let you control me." With a surge of strength, He summoned the light from within, feeling it radiate around him, pushing back against the darkness. The figure recoiled, hissing in anger as the light enveloped them. The shadows writhed, battling against the illumination, but Jack held his ground. He could feel his friends rallying around him, their belief in him bolstering his resolve. Together, they formed a circle of light, pushing back against the encroaching darkness. "You cannot take us!" Jack shouted, his voice resonating with determination. "We stand together against you!" The darkness screamed, a cacophony of rage and despair, but the light pierced through, illuminating the room and banishing the shadows that had haunted him for so long. As the light grew brighter, the figure dissolved into nothingness, and with it, the oppressive weight of fear lifted. Jack stood there, breathing heavily, the adrenaline coursing through him like fire. They had faced the darkness together and emerged victorious. Jack turned to his friends, their faces reflecting a mixture of shock and exhilaration. "I can't believe we did it," he said, a grin spreading across his face. But as they made their way out of the building, a sense of foreboding lingered in the air. Jack knew that while they had conquered this battle, the war against the darkness was far from over. The shadows could return, perhaps stronger than before, and he would need to remain vigilant. As they stepped into the cool night air, he glanced back at the abandoned building, a silent promise forming in his heart. He would continue to confront the shadows, to seek out the light, to protect himself and those he cared about.